Okay, here we are. Got a couple days to wrap up the Atticus, the role model presenting evidence test. That's this right here. It's gone from 200 point to 150 point assignment only because now we're going to take this and the extra 50 points is going to be turned into a paragraph. So you can see you're gonna eventually soon here a mostly blank template for turning in this piece of writing. So we're going to take this, turn it into an argument in which we are supporting this idea that Atticus tries to be a good role model for Gem and Scout, and turn that into a paragraph in which we argue that Atticus tries to be a good role model for Gem and Scout with the pieces of text evidence that we've outlined. So this is the hard work, which is the reason why it's worth 150 points, and this is going to be considerably easier. It's more like arts and crafts, it feels like, with a little bit of writing skill built in, and that's why it's only worth 50 points. But back to Schoology. So as far as resources go, what you have under the presenting evidence test, which is this, you get the original guide video, which is, I don't know, like 6 minutes long or something like that. And there's this other video, and this video was made specifically for folks who maybe haven't done that well as far as like the chapter checks because they didn't do a very good job of reading. So it's titled, I want to do well in the writing, but I didn't read the book. So this video will kind of guide you through the process of, well, if I didn't do a good job of reading the book, how might I still be able to demonstrate these important writing concepts that we've been studying in class? So if that's you and you haven't watched that yet and you want to do well in the writing, then give that a go. And then down at the bottom is the Atticus, the role model paragraph writing test. And that's this. You eventually get this document right here. It's a Google Doc assignment. So what's going to end up happening is I end up having to unsubmit this document so that you could continue to work on it and then also copy and paste from it over to here for the other 50 points. 150 points, 50 points. Total of 200 points. So when you click on the paragraph writing test, here are some of the things that you get out of it. You get the writing task. It's an explanation that you're writing a paragraph that supports the idea that Atticus tries to be a good role model for Gem and Scout. You get the weight of the task. You can see that the presenting evidence outlines worth 150 points. I've said that already. The paragraph submitting that is worth up to 50 points. These are both up to 150 and up to 50 points, so that's where you start. And there's a topic sentence freebie. I'll show you how to use that in just a moment. And then in terms of submitting the writing task, you have to submit both the presenting evidence outline, maybe again, and also the paragraph. So you'll be submitting two things by the time you're done. Totally doable. You just got to remember that there's really two assignments here. So before you submit the paragraph, you're going to have to do some markup requirements to say, hey, I know what these concepts are that we've been studying in class. And then there's also an MLA formatting requirement. So you're given most of the header. You just have to kind of fill in the blanks. You're given a space for the title. You got to come up with the title and then make sure that it's formatted correctly in terms of selecting a 12-point font and also double spacing the document. So here's eventually what it's going to look like for you. Okay, let's say that these were two pieces of evidence that you wanted to use in your paragraph. Well, first of all, I told you there's a topic sentence freebie. Looks like this. I'm highlighting it so that I can copy it because it's a freebie. Control C will copy it. That's what I just did on the keyboard so you could see it. Or you couldn't see it, but just so you know. It reads, in Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus lives his life so that he can try to be a good role model for Gem and Scout. And if that's my topic sentence, then it's probably the start of my paragraph as well. Space. What's next? Well, I'm going to transition into my first piece of text evidence. With a transition, Control C, I copied it. Control V, I just pasted it. Space. There's the next piece. And this is going to be monotonous, but maybe therapeutic and soothing at the same time. I don't know. Control V to paste it. There's my lead in. As long as you feel good about this writing, the paragraph's going to be fairly easy. As you can see, I'm pasting my attributive tag now, copying my evidence, which I've punctuated properly, space. This is just a pretend lead out, just to give you an idea of what this process of the writing looks like. I've seen some people, and their lead outs are a little slim. You can't analyze anything in one sentence. How are you going to analyze how this text evidence supports the idea of Atticus as a role model in one sentence? Really can't be done. Let's see, that's my first piece of evidence. Here's the start of my second piece of evidence. Furthermore, yep, more copying, more pasting, space. Here's my second lead in. Doesn't look, I don't need the capital letter. So here's a good example of why unsubmitting your document is key, because sometimes you can't, once you've submitted something, you can't change anything. So I didn't want that to be a capital A for after. I wanted it to be a lowercase a. Here is my attributed tag. Here's my second piece of text evidence, which I've already punctuated properly as it was supposed to be. Pasted it. So I can already tell some of the font is different. It looks like it's the same font, but it's definitely a different size. So I'm just going to highlight all of it. Control A will highlight all of it as well. Control D. Oops, that's not right. Control A will highlight it all. And then you can see, well, I want this to be size 12. I like Georgia. Georgia is one of my favorite fonts. So that looks better. But this is just two pieces of evidence here, obviously. And in terms of the key, this is going back into Schoology. Looks like topic sentences get underlined. Some of you may already know this because we've done this before. But here's the topic sentence. Control U will underline it. Looks like my transition is already bolded. What else? What else? Lead-ins are green. Here's my first lead-in. It's green. Some people might be so good at this they can simply find their lead-ins in the entire thing. So here's my other lead-in for my second piece of text evidence. Here's my attributive tag. So I mean, you're probably getting the idea here. This is where the arts and crafts part of it coming into it, especially if your writing's in good shape. So here is my first piece of text evidence. Control B will make that markup punctuation bold. Here's my first lead out. So, we've done this before. You're just being asked to do it in a fashion that demonstrates one final time. You know exactly what all of these marks of punctuation are for. Clearly, I don't have my next lead out here, but let's pretend for a moment. Pretend that this was an entire piece of writing. Control A will select all of the text. And this is for line spacing. So I've got a 12-point font. It's in Georgia. I think that's a pretty serious font. And then if you wanted to double space it, you would double space it. And if you felt like you had done all these markup requirements, it looks like I still need to do the header and the title. So you need your name. My name's already in there. The name of the course, the date you're submitting this. You need a title. You could submit this, and then once this was submitted, you could go back and say, is there anything I need to do on here again, and then submit this, and then you would end up submitting both of them. Remember, this is worth 150 points. This is worth 50 points, so it's still a 200-point test. It just comes in two parts now. So I think that's it. Just going to scroll down to the bottom, just a reminder. It's the last one. Well, here it is, the Atticus, the role model, presenting evidence test. That's this. A couple helpful videos. The video I'm making will be below the Atticus, the role model paragraph test. That's this. 50 points, 150, 50, 150, 50, for a total of 200 points. Hey, if you have any questions, I'm available through Zoom. I'm available through Schoology messages. I'll see you in class, some of you. So you're going to have to seek me out. So in the next 2 days, if you want to do well on this, I may not be able to get into your document and offer you some help. So if you have specific questions and you want to work hard and you want to do well, you will seek me out and I will get back to you in as timely a manner as I possibly can. But that's what we have for the last 2.5, 3 days of school before break. Let's get to work.